Oh, it's not good when you end up in the others category, but nevertheless, the remaining four social media platforms, by the way, can you name them? Are just going to be there in the other section because I have really never heard of anyone. Doesn't mean it's not possible. Who makes their main income on one of these platforms. So let's go over them anyway, because if there's a place somewhere where no one's there really, that means there is a possible opportunity, and it's going to be up to you to decide. And maybe it is perfect for your niche or your style, or maybe you already have an existing traction on one of those platforms. So let's talk about them. And I'm going to start with Twitter. And I know this is kind of weird, right? Because it's a huge platform, a lot of celebrities on there, but at the same time, this is kind of the reason Twitter is big, because it's an announcement platform for people who are already famous, right? Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Kim Kardashian, and so forth. But people don't really get famous on Twitter that much if you're just starting over, even though there is a discovery and hashtags and so forth. It's just not has it has not been a popular platform for people to get enough followers and then start advertising. If you're on Twitter, you'll know even Kim Kardashian doesn't advertise that much on Twitter. Most of the brands that they work with still prefer YouTube and Instagram and other social media. So it is just kind of not being used for those purposes. I don't know why. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly good for that. But it is definitely not something that I would be surprised if too many people would be making their main income on Twitter at this point. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is maybe even more surprising to end up in the others category, which is Facebook. I know it's huge. And I know maybe some of you are really baffles the ones watching this course saying, Alex, but how can it be? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, let's forget about personal pages, right? Personal pages really cannot be monetized. They're personal. But there are two types of sort of subcategories, if you will, on Facebook where businesses hang out. One of them are business pages. Here's one for Nike, and the reason they have so many followers is because they're a huge brand. If you are a brand that's starting out, it is much harder to get followers because simply Facebook doesn't really have a great discovery mechanism. As a matter of fact, most people don't use Facebook to search for things unless it's someone's name or a brand that they already know. But as far as general keywords, is just not that. As a matter of fact, when the search results come in, a lot of times they list regular people first or events and so forth. They don't cater to pages as much. Now, is it possible? Yes, it's possible to get a following. But even if you get a following, the problem with Facebook, when you post content there, you're not going to reach most of your audience. I know it sounds ridiculous, and actually, it is true for a lot of platforms, like even Facebook and Instagram. When you post content there, not all of your followers get an alerts or emails and so forth. That's normal. But on Facebook, it's especially unfair. I believe in their numbers, obviously hidden, and these are generally guesses, but I've heard the numbers anywhere from 90 to 95% of your followers will not see your posts. And this is because Facebook likes to monetize the pages and groups that we're going to talk about in a second. So a lot of times when you post something, you will always see, they will always be like, hey, do you want to pay us to make sure that more people see it? Well, you usually go like, wait a second, I thought that a lot of people would see it already, at least my followers. Well, that's not the case. And yes, if you want to invest in paid advertisement, Facebook is not a bad place to do so. But as far as just creating your own natural following and then consistently updating them, it is pretty tough. Now, let's talk about groups, because groups are actually a bit easier. And I myself have done some business there and wasn't able to get a full-time income on it, but I did make some income in some of my groups. And let me really quickly tell you, I have skipped the video portion of Facebook because, as you know, there is video, but it's really not a thing yet. I know Facebook has tried, I don't think hard enough, to create sort of a YouTube within Facebook type of a thing. I don't understand why. What they've created is kind of hidden, and a lot of times only bigger names get an account even for that part of Facebook. So I'm just gonna skip that because it is just not a thing yet. But groups are, and this is one of my groups, and I have monetized it before. The rules are a little bit odd, and I've kept up with the terms of use of Facebook, and you can monetize your groups in some ways and not so much in others. But obviously, sponsored posts is something that, again, please check with terms of use with Facebook first. But it is something that is possible to monetize if you have a following, if you have a group with a lot of members. A lot of times these are the people that jump into your group because there's a specific topic is discussed. If you moderate the group in terms of who can join them, and especially the posts that people post, you can really create a very engaged community. So a lot of times, sponsors and advertisers are very interested, especially if they're already part of the group. I've had quite a few potential sponsors and brands that became my sponsors. They were at first my members, and they said, "Hey, I really like this group. Everyone's really engaged here. The topics are exactly what we're looking for. We'd like to post something about our product and have people discuss, because we're also going to get some feedback. And if people have questions, this is for us. This is a great media for us to give them answers. And, they will pay you per post, and you can pin it, and it will be something extra. It's questionable whether you can put advertisement in the header of the Facebook group. But again, before you do anything, please make sure to check with their terms of use, because they do consistently evolve. And if I tell you it's allowed right now, and then you watch this video a year later and it's not, you can get in trouble. So please check with them. I'm just saying that this is possible to do this here. Now, I have to say, in terms of my experience and quite a few other people's experience, when you have a Facebook group, just like with almost anything on any media, a lot of people don't want to leave it and go to a different media. I've advertised my YouTube channel in my Facebook group. As a matter of fact, that's the whole reason I started my YouTube channel in the first place, and nobody wanted to move. Everyone was like, "Hey, we're cool here. We joined this group. We're enjoying this. Forget about your YouTube channel. Don't want to go." So just so you know, a lot of times you might just have to do business within your Facebook group. But this is as far as it goes. So consider that. But at the same time, these groups can really blow up, especially if you create a group for a trend that is just starting out, maybe a new product or a new niche. If you're the first one, or at least within the first maybe half a year, you have a good chance of having a lot of members, a lot of people join, and having it become a pretty popular group. As a matter of fact, I think, and again, things change all the time. Right now, Facebook would promote your group if they see that a lot of people are joining and staying, and there's a lot of discussion and engagement in your group. That group would be promoted even more. I know throughout the few years that I've owned my groups, there has been moments where Facebook promoted so much, I was really, really having a hard time keeping up with approving members and approving new posts. It is exhausting, but nevertheless, it's a great community you can build, and it is free. All right, let's move on to TikTok. If you don't know what TikTok is, you might want to ask your friends, but especially if you have teenage kids. It is a new platform, and a lot of young people are there, just like with any platform that was young at some point. Facebook, Instagram, it's usually the kids who jump in there, and then adults show up and screw things up. No, definitely give themselves opportunity to make money. Now, if you don't know what TikTok is, they were originally sort of a Chinese-based company, and it was growing very popular. There was a very similar ad here in America called Musical.ly, and then TikTok acquired Musical.ly, and so now it became kind of a global social media platform with an amazing reach, and it's the fastest growing social media platform right now. If you were not too drunk on a New Year's Eve, and if you're watching the countdown, the Times Square, you might have noticed that the countdown was sponsored by TikTok, which actually kind of makes sense. And I see their ads all over the place. I've seen their ads outside of my hotel room on the Strip in Las Vegas when I stayed there earlier this year. I see that they're advertising, they're really, really pushing it, and it's a fun platform. Remember Vine? It's I think it was a 7 or 8 second videos, and then kind of went away after Twitter acquired it. Going back to Twitter again, right? But it is 15-second videos that originally was designed to be a lip syncing app, but now there are challenges, and you can get the pieces of the most popular songs out there and lip sync to it and do a lot of crazy and fun things, and it's just fun. And because it's a new platform, it is much easier to gather a following. I tried it myself, and in 2.5 months I got 12.3 thousand followers, and I enjoyed it. It's very easy to produce. Most of the time you can do it on your phone. Most of the time you don't spend more than maybe 20 minutes, even if you have to edit something. You have a lot of fun. They're 15-second videos, and if you catch a trend, and they will give you tools to catch a trend, you can do really, really well. Now, of course, discovery there is a bit tough. You kind of have to learn that their discovery is actually not just hashtags, but also the popular pieces of songs, right? So the sound bites themselves become the discovery engine. So if some popular song becomes being used by a lot of TikTokers, as they're called, and a lot of people are watching it, using it, makes your video pretty popular as well, or at least give it a chance to be very popular, because people will search through other videos for the same audio piece, and you can be one of them. And I even got featured one time, which is like almost impossible to be on any other platform, but I got featured, and when you get featured, then I think that video got 500,000 views on TikTok. They have not really blossomed yet in a platform that you can monetize, but a lot of times I see that TikTok itself is now inserting ads, and obviously there are brands that are coming to TikTok and spending their money, which means that there are more and more brands out there that are willing to pay money to TikTokers. And I'm sure there will be ways how we will figure out how to do it. They're having their own little conventions now. So it is definitely a growing platform. I really, obviously it's a new platform. It's hard to say whether it's really going to blow up and stay around, but this is as promising as I have seen. So I would say that, especially if you just want to have a little bit of fun and don't have that much time and don't want to buy equipment, this is actually something that you want to try, and you can actually grow pretty fast. You will kind of have to hold on for about a year or two and see what happens with monetization, but it's definitely something. If you gamble early on a new social media platform, it can pay out very generously. Just like, as you know, there are many YouTubers that have millions and millions of subscribers. It's because they started early and they were just having fun on a new platform. But it is a risk that you have to take as a business. All right, so let's talk about LinkedIn. A lot of people don't think of LinkedIn as a social media platform, but it definitely is. As a matter of fact, the quality of the audience on LinkedIn is probably the highest, because you create your own network there as an individual, and everything that you post will be consumed by the network that you have picked for yourself. In my case, it's a lot of industry insiders for electric car industry and automotive industry. So when I post a video, it reaches some really big executives many different ways, and the stats will even tell you who it reached. And you can friend anybody there. For example, here's a CEO of Oracle, where I send a friend request. A lot of time they will not accept, but I have quite a few CEOs and pretty known people, and who just basically friended me, and guess what? They see my posts, and that is big. Sometimes an audience of one for a certain video or content piece is much bigger than the audience of 10, 20, or 50,000. It really does depend who is watching. So, and by the way, the stats there are not bad at all. It will actually tell you how many people from which different brands saw your video, how many were engineers and CEOs and project managers and so forth, and it will also break it down by the geographic area. I wouldn't say that the stats are amazing, but they definitely are very unique, right? Because even YouTube will not tell you which employees or which brands are watching you. But here, for example, if I make a video about Audi, and I know a lot of BMW employees watched me, I kind of can understand what's going on there, and definitely leverage that. And don't forget, it's got its own engine. Of course, the search engine, the results are usually people or companies, and you can create groups there. You can create pages for your business. So technically, can have a presence of in 3 different ways there, and it's all legit. And I know some people who don't necessarily make money by posting videos or content, right, and having sponsors. But I do know some people who became popular enough and have enough cred, street cred, if you will, on this platform where they would make their money by being invited to speak at different conferences or host different events and so forth. So even though their money is not coming directly from featuring something on the LinkedIn platform, the opportunities and the jobs that they get out of it come directly from being there, from people knowing them through LinkedIn and seeing their presence and so forth, and then also seeing who their friends are. If I have a video and a CEO of an automotive brand or an executive commented on that, everybody can see it and saying, whoa, this guy is out there if somebody that important is paying attention to him. So if I put something in his video, if we sponsor this video or have a guest from our company in this video, there is a big possibility that that CEO or CEOs or executives like him or her would see our content. So brands that are looking for partners might sponsor your videos, your content that goes on LinkedIn, or simply bring you out as a speaker on one of their events. So it is pretty interesting platform, and it is still growing, and the stats are growing. So it's definitely great platform to try out. If not, it could be your main one, but definitely make sure to put your name out there as your empire grows, as we talked about it. After you pick the main platform for yourself, make sure that you grow the other platforms around it. In LinkedIn, especially for getting sponsors, is very important. I will talk to you later about how LinkedIn is important about connecting to PR people and marketing people and executives if you're looking to create a relationship with a potential sponsor. So there you go. There's the others category. Just wanted to make sure you guys understand pros and cons for this one. And if you decided one of them is for you, then more power to you, because there's not that many people who figured out how to do it. And if you can, you will probably be a very rich man or a woman. So that pretty much concludes all of our social media platforms. So now we can talk about how to actually make money on them. Let's go and talk about that.